Jack Quinn here with Penn State Barron men's and women's cross country coach Greg Cooper, also the head coach of the track and field programs, but looking at the fall sports right now. Coach, how are you?
Great, how are you?
I'm good. Last season, both the men and the women had remarkably successful years. The women set a record at the AMCC championship meet. The men had 7 of the top 12 finishers at the championship meet. So how high does that put your expectations then for this?
I think the expectations are high, although we went 1, 2, 3, 4 in the women's meet last year, and 1, 2, and 3 are graduated, and 4 unfortunately has a petroleum engineering or chemical engineering degree that she's trying to pursue, which unfortunately took her to University Park.
Yeah.
So we lost 4 of our top 4 from last year. However, we have a young lady who was injured last year. She had a medical waiver, and she's back. And she's the top returner from the year before. And we have the girl who was 6th place from last year. And I feel some of the freshmen who've come in and newcomers are ready to step in, as well as a few of our returners who stepped it up in track and started to really perform well.
On both the men's and the women's side, I noticed, at least for the local student athletes that you have, a lot of their names would pop up on that back page of the paper in the local 5 and 10Ks. Is that something that they really like to do to competitively run in the off season?
Yeah, I think they do. I think also it's just one of those things. Runners like to run,
right.
And I ask them, I tell them that in order to be well prepared for the fall, they need to run all summer long, and so I think sometimes they just jump into the local 5K. A lot of times, I know there was one in Fort LaBeouf that I believe supports the Fort LaBeouf high school cross country team, and we have a number of Fort LaBeouf graduates on our team, so I'm sure that they just wanted to go
right.
back and kind of support where they came from.
Well, and I was at the color run downtown, and I looked for them, but I couldn't see because of all the colors. But I'm sure some of them were there as well. And then looking at the men's side, Beggs, Cody Cornell, Josh Natalie. So you've got a lot of solid experience coming back there.
Absolutely. And a young man who was the newcomer of the year, wasn't the newcomer of the year, but should have been the newcomer of the year last year for the AMCC in Jake DeWeese is back, and he's looking very strong. Those 3 or 4, as you mentioned, also looking very strong. And in addition to those ones, we have a few freshmen who've come in, who whether they were all state last year, a few of them, and I think they'll transition to the college race very well.
You have a lot of freshmen on this team, 9. Is
right.
conditioning any kind of a factor, or is it pretty well known that they're going to come in and be ready to step in and go right away?
I think they have a good expectation that college running is going to be, an expectation
hard.
Hard. It's going to be, there's going to be an expectation that they're going to be in shape. Most of them have come in really good shape, and that's exciting. There's a few runners. Denny Lydon, who graduated from our program last year, the AMCC champion of last year. We have a freshman from his high school. So it's kind of a neat continuation. But he came in. He was able to talk over the summer with Denny, kind of get an understanding of what the expectation was, not only from emails and conversations with me, but also from actually talking to some of the athletes. And I know they emailed each other back and forth this summer. All of them probably became friends on Facebook and followed each other on Twitter and that sort of thing. So even without sort of my input, their motivation was to one another.
You guys open up August 30th, the Barron Invitation a little bit earlier this year, September 13th, so hopefully we see a lot of people there. Coach, good luck this season.
Thank you very much.